everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is the latest update from the City of Frisco and Universal Parks and Resorts as of January 26th. A lot of new info dropped from the Frisco City Council, as well as update site maps and traffic studies. We also have, from Universal Studios, some information about what is actually going to be allowed in the park and what is not going to be allowed in the park, and some new information on rides. So let's get into it.
All right, so basically the first part of the information that came down from the government of Frisco is going to be some new maps, permits information, some things that they apparently discussed the prior week. They had an open council meeting and then they had a closed one for legal. The first map, as you just mentioned, is going to be the old one. So Midtown East is what you're looking at right now. And that is going to go away because that's making way for what's going to be Universal now. So the Fields West project is going to be at Panther Creek Parkway. It includes 325,000 square feet of retail, restaurant, and entertainment space, 2,800 apartments, and more than 4 million square feet of offices and 3 hotels, kind of mentioned before. That one, we know there's going to be a Ritz-Carlton. There's possibly the Omni they're counting that's going to be up in the PGA area. But I'm not sure if they're counting the Universal Hotel that's going in, so that's going to be something that may be determined later.
So this is the current map we're looking at, correct?
Right, that's correct. This is the current map as you would see it today.
Okay, and so you can see Universal is taking up that Midtown East section, and the East Village to the right is where they're going to have basically apartments and living, and then the Fields West is, I guess, what we saw before, where that's going to have more of the shopping and entertainment area, and with the Dallas North Toll running in the middle of it.
Right, which right now, the way it sits, there's not anything there at all.
Yeah, from the previous drone footage, there was absolutely nothing. Nothing. There's some cows,
yep,
but nothing in this spot. So they have a long way to go, but it looks pretty cool in the picture.
Yeah. And then the other one that came up was a zoning, like a planning, kind of going over what they're going to put, which if you see with the arrows, that's going to be for vegetation and sound barriers. And then obviously the park is in the middle part of it. And then they're going to have a traffic pattern map here where we've moved to, where you can see that there's only going to be one way into the park, and it won't be off of Panther Creek. You basically have to go the back way, I guess, turn off of Fields Parkway. So there's going to be one-way traffic in front of the hotel, and then the park guests are going to go into the other section, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like what most major parks have. You're going to have that one way in and one way out, and it looks pretty isolated, I would say, especially if they're going to add lots of greenery, which they say they're going to do. And I don't think that anyone obviously is going to be like cutting through this area.
I don't think so. I mean, especially they've got islands there. They have trees. I don't know how tall these trees are going to be. So yeah, I don't think there's going to be any danger of something like that happening. And then you're really just dealing with the housing developed below that. Is, I guess they're going to have to make some kind of alternate way for them to get out of their neighborhood, because as it would sit that way, they wouldn't be able to just directly exit back on the Panther Creek.
Yeah, and they're going to extend Frisco Street and Panther Creek Parkway right all the way through as well. And then Preston is actually above, which is another major street that people are going to be able to get around this area. And let's not forget all the rest of the stuff that's going in all around it. But I don't know. The traffic pattern looks, I mean, it looks pretty, that's the usual thing you have, I guess, with a amusement park.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're not breaking any kind of new ground here. The other part that they released some traffic studies, and this is going to be more for foot traffic, of how the park would compare to like local grocery stores. In this case, the Stonebriar Mall, which is like 64,000 on the weekend versus 14,000 expected at Universal during the weekend. So I think these numbers kind of show a little bit more of things you don't think about normally, like the grocery store being that close.
A couple months, it's going to be really, really busy. Even though they're saying this is going to be a small park, it's geared towards kids. I think people are just going to be curious because it's the first park that's been done like this, and Universal's doing it and not Disney.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
So I think people are going to be interested. The crowd level has been like crazy at all the parks lately. So I'll be interested. I mean, we're still years away from this, but I think it's going to be busy. It's going to be crowded at first. Okay, so looking at this graphic, we kind of have an idea of what Universal has said they're going to allow and not allow. So they're saying they're not going to target teens and adults, which I don't fully agree with, because the adults are the ones spending the money at the park with the young children and the ones hanging out at the park with the young children and buying the merchandise and staying in the hotels. So I think it's going to have to be a little fun for the adults. I don't see Universal not doing that at all. So I don't know. We'll see about that one. But
Yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit of give and take there. It can't just be just everything strictly kids, kids, kids.
Yeah.
I think the majority of it is, again, but there's going to be little nods here and there would have to be.
Yeah, and they're saying no late night hours, which I can see that. No big buildings. The hotel will be 4 to 5 stories, which sounds like a pretty decent sized hotel. And the next one on the list is no dark rides, which I'm not happy about. So
Yeah, hot topic for sure. I mean, you would think at some point, maybe in an expansion, they've got that extra area that's going to be kept back. You would think there would have to be dark rides just because of iconic moments that everybody had in dark rides as a kid, and I think that's another way to get capacity. And really, they keep talking about beating the heat, and that's one of the best ways to do it is 5 to 10 minutes or however long it is.
I don't see them, especially with all the buildings that were in the renderings. I mean, I know some of those are maintenance buildings and some of those are going to be meet and greets and all that, and I get it, but I don't know. I can't see this children's theme park with no dark rides. When you think about Cat in the Hat or Peter Pan, those are just very classic rides, especially for this targeted age group that they're trying to cater to. And even adults as well. There's people that will go and just try to find dark rides that are left over from, amusement parks that were iconic to them when they were children. So I don't know. I don't really see them not putting in a dark ride. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. I'm in denial.
Other things that were on there after that, if we can make it past that, no fireworks. Again, makes sense to have a.
Yeah, I get that. I think that's kind of one reason why I know they're saying like no late nights, but you have to think it's saying family friendly hours 10 to 6 and then 10 to 7. I feel like they're probably going to have some lights, maybe be in the water and things like that. And I kind of feel like Trolls might be lit up a little bit too as well. I think that could be amazing lit up. So yeah. I think they're going to have probably holidays and stuff where they might stay open a little bit later. I kind of feel like this list is kind of catering to the city council, but I feel like they're going to stretch it a little bit, especially, when they start actually building it and ready for, opening. I don't know. I can't see it just a theme park like this not doing things like that, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think the amount or permitted, I think they said celebrations is allowed for 20, or at least they put down for, so that I don't know what the celebrations exactly would be unless it's just like, Christmas, Halloween, things like
just
that.
holidays they're celebrating. Yeah. Right.
So yeah,
I feel like they're going to do that as well. I don't know how they wouldn't do that. It's a huge moneymaker for Universal when you think about Christmas and, Mardi Gras and all that kind of stuff they do for all the different holidays. I just don't see them, not doing something like that. So, and then they also had, they talked about the landscaping. They're supposed to be building, I guess, double bermed screen neighborhoods from the theme parks, which, if you look at a lot of the newer landscaping that Universal's done in the parks, it's really beautiful. So I think it's gonna really be a really beautiful park to hang out in.
Yeah.
So I think that Universal's goal is, like they said, to kind of put the park back in park. So I think it is going to be heavily landscaped. I think it's going to be a really nice park, from what they're saying so far, especially because of the heat in Texas. It's miserable here, so we need as much shade as we can. And finally, the family coasters, they're saying 40 to 50 feet max. As our hedge maze is in our map right here, that's where we said we thought there would probably be a coaster, right?
Yeah. I there's no way that's going to be a hedge maze. So yeah, I think that's a placeholder for at least one kiddie coaster or some type
Yeah.
of ride like that.
And
For
40 to 50 feet's actually pretty large when you think about it. Woody woodpeckers at what height? I can't.
20 about 27 feet for the
Yeah.
woody woodpecker or
So
whatever it's going to be rethemed as now that that area is being rethemed currently. And then fly the hippogriff,
yeah, that one is
42.
42 feet. Okay.
Yeah, 42.
So, but
Yeah.
at least they're saying coasters for sure. So we were right on that one, even if there's no dark rides. Frisco is going to have a community meet and greet with Universal Parks and Resorts this Tuesday, January 31st. So it ought to be interesting to see what they are going to tell us, if they're going to give us any new info. And we will let you guys know in the next video.
If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe.